military equipment to the Philippines and Taiwan. Let's start with the Philippines. Why on earth are we sending missile deployment to the Philippines other than to provoke the Chinese?
Let us understand how serious this war machine of the United States is in revving up for war with China. There was just a document from the Navy for war with China by 2027. The talk like this is absolutely unbelievable, unbelievably dangerous. We should be exercising diplomacy. We should be solving problems of the South China Sea. China does not want the U.S. to impose choke points on its sea lanes in which China brings its food and energy. And we parade the fact that here are the choke lines and the U.S. Navy can choke off China and that we are preparing for war by 2027. This is a kind of madness. You know, yes, I would expect generals and admirals to have their war games because that's their business. But I would not expect the U.S. government to be allowing this kind of talk because our business is peace and safety for the American people and for the world and to avoid a nuclear war. And we're not doing that right now. Of course, we have an administration that has been weak all along on this point, that doesn't know how to restrain the war machine. The president himself is, you know, he's at the end of his political career. He's at the end of his administration. We don't hear from him except once in a while. Today we heard a speech that he read from the teleprompter on the podium, which, but other than that, we hear a lot of talk about war, and it's absolutely reckless and dangerous. And whenever you hear, don't worry about it, we're not going to be bluffed and so forth, please understand how absolutely irresponsible such talk is. We're not in a poker game. We're not in a game of risk. We're in a game where we need to stay out of each other's direct neighborhoods so that we do not provoke an accidental or deliberate or preemptive nuclear war.
Why do we have a fleet in the South China Sea? Could you imagine if the Chinese had a fleet in the Caribbean or off the coast of New Jersey?
Well, look, we went through this once in a very vivid way when Russia, or not Russia, let me be clear, it was the Soviet Union in 1962 decided to create such a base in Cuba. These were the tensest days in the history of the world because the United States said that it would never accept this and prepared for World War to prevent it. I don't know what it is in the psyches of these American leaders now that they cannot think through, even it seems for 10 seconds, how we would react if things were put in our way, just like you've explained. What if China or Russia said, we'll have a military base on the Rio Grande with Mexico, or we'll revive the idea of such a base in Cuba? Would the Americans say, okay, that's fine? Or if we said, we don't like that, and the Chinese said, it's an open world, you know, it's none of your business, we would say, you know what, it is fundamentally our business. Well, Judge, when Russia says, we don't want your missiles and your military base on our 2,100 kilometer border with Ukraine, you know what we say? We literally tell them, it's none of your business. It's just between us and Ukraine. And we say,